In the Bible, there seem to be quite a few comparisons between our relationship to God to marriage between two people. Comparisons such as, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to sanctify her, cleansing her with the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a glorious church, without stain or wrinkle or any such blemish, but holy and blameless. And you adulterers, don't you realize that friendship with the world makes you an enemy of God? I say it again, if you want to be a friend of the world, you make yourself an enemy of God. That first comparison I thought was pretty clear. Comparing husbands to Christ and wives to the church. And then that the second comparison was comparing people who make friends with the world as adulterers. So again, both of those examples sort of comparing our relationship to God to a marriage type of relationship. And I won't belabor the point. There are quite a few verses that compare our relationship with God to marriage. Going along with those kinds of comparisons, I thought of a head turner. Do you know what a head turner is? As I understand it, it's basically someone who is so attractive that they might make your head turn to look at them. I want to say that you can look at someone attractive, notice that they are attractive, but still not want them, still not desire them. It is different to keep looking with some lust and desire in your heart. Moving on, I believe there are some things that we as Christians can allow to be head turners to us. Things that turn our heads away from God. Things that, unfortunately, can become more attractive to us than the one we ought to love the most. I've seen this to be true, and it's an unattractive thing to see. Once I was having a conversation with a pastor and his wife. Actually, more like listening to their combined monologues rather than having a conversation. This was my first time meeting them. Anyway, they went on, gushing about how amazing some church building halfway across the country was, and how many amenities it had, and how the men's bathroom was huge, and about the stained glass windows and high ceilings, and I mean on about how amazing it was. This was not a normal observation about an impressive building. I mean, they were enamored by it. Then they went on to speak about various donations they personally have received, cash amounts, and a vehicle. I'm saying they talked more about this and gushed more about it than they did about God. It was noticeable, and frankly, it disgusted me. It was as if I could see them turning their heads to look at something they found very attractive and practically lusted over, while not keeping their eyes on God. Their excessive enthusiasm for material things was clear. Inwardly, I felt embarrassed, and I could not relate. I felt self-conscious or uncomfortable, as if I were witnessing a married man overtly ogling some woman from across the room, while his wife sat right next to him. It was weird and repulsive. That is an obvious example of a head turner causing Christians to look away from God. But I think at other times it is not so obvious. It is somewhat more subtle. may be more hidden in one's heart. Some of the most attractive head turners that we may encounter in this world are money and approval from people. Occasionally, I will hear a Christian tell me something that obviously indicates they have a motive that is greater than love for God in their life, like getting money or how they might be looked at by others, and I'm surprised. I shouldn't be surprised at all. I see them turning their heads to look at something they desire when they are supposed to love God the most, and it is uncomfortable to observe this. In my mind, I'm thinking, what are you doing? Basically, what are you doing, turning your head in lust for something like that? Why does that even turn your head? I don't relate. I realize they are looking at all kinds of things that, personally, I am either actively trying not to pay attention to, or have already counted as absolutely worthless. And so I wonder, why are you turning your head to look at that? I suppose it may be pretty, in a way, but it is like trash compared to God. Not only do I wonder why they are turning their head to look at whatever it may be they find so desirable, but I think about, don't they care about how that makes God feel? Do they love Him really when they are so quick to find other things more desirable than Him? Do they really love Him? This is a legitimate question. Once I was amongst a group of Christians having a discussion about something. One person was sharing their thoughts, saying something about the struggle between focusing on the world versus focusing on God. And as they were explaining, they said something like, "We all love the world," and then went on with whatever they had to say. Personally, I was repulsed. What do you mean, we all love the world? Not me. I don't know about you, but I have become more and more disgusted with the world, thank God. I mean, do you see anything in the world worth loving? Look at it. I don't see anything there worth loving. In fact, it seems to be going down the drain more and more day by day. Besides that, the world doesn't love me like God loves me. Why should I love it? And when I say the world, I don't mean people. I mean the values and ways of the world. I was repulsed by a Christian saying to other Christians, "We all love the world." Maybe they love the world. I do not share the sentiment. To me, it was as repulsive as a married man saying to a group of married men that we all love our mistresses. I think any of the married men who actually loved their wife would not agree that we all love our mistresses and would be repulsed by such a statement. Perhaps amazed at such a statement. Yet, do we regard and love God as much? Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh, the desires of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not from the Father but from the world. The world is passing away, along with its desires, but whoever does the will of God remains forever. Once I was walking through a grocery store with a male that I was supposed to be in a serious relationship with. I was with him, walking right beside him, when I see him doing the up and down look toward another woman in the store, even craning his neck backward to get another good look. I noticed this, and I can tell you it didn't feel good. It did not make me feel respected or loved, that's for sure. In the moment, I let it go. Later that day, I brought it up, asking why he did that, but of course, he lied about it to my face, as if I didn't see what I saw with my own eyes. After more lying about it and attempts at manipulation, he eventually admitted he did what he did. Other than the lies and manipulation about it, what bothered me the most was his apparent lukewarmness, as I will put it. Either be with me or be with someone else, but don't be with me while wanting someone else. Make up your mind. I can completely relate with these Bible verses. I know your deeds. You are neither cold nor hot. How I wish you were one or the other. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I am about to vomit you out of my mouth. As a side note, lukewarm is really distasteful. Once I got some water to drink out of the kitchen faucet, and I thought it would be cold, but when I got it in my mouth, it was lukewarm, and it was really gross. It is true, I would have rather had it cold or hot, but not lukewarm. I didn't realize how unpalatable something as simple as water can be when it is lukewarm. I have had to confess to the Lord that there have been times in my life where I did find other things more attractive, more wanted than God. That was wrong, and I'm sorry to have treated him in that way. I suppose it is understood by me more clearly after some personal, first-hand experiences. I want to love and respect the one I claim as my God more than anyone or anything else. It is a harsh lesson to learn, but I'm glad the Lord is teaching me that there is absolutely nothing in the whole world worth looking at, so to speak, but God. I've tasted this reality even more lately. Things I used to enjoy seem to fall flat now. Sort of like a carbonated beverage going flat. It's just not the same. I don't even want it anymore. Lately, for me, it has been even more real. How there is like nothing worthwhile in this world except knowing God and doing His will. It feels strange to me, in a way. I went bowling the other day. Not to change the subject so violently, but I went bowling the other day. I wanted to. I had not tried bowling since I was a kid, but I remember enjoying it. But now I just don't enjoy it. On the surface, I should have, but it was doing absolutely nothing for me. This is a small and possibly irrelevant example, but I was amazed at how I didn't get a thing out of it. But it's been like that with a lot of things recently. I cannot find fulfillment and life in other things anymore. It's as if the only way I am fulfilled and find life is with God. Not to be grotesque, but it could be compared to a drug. The entry-level drugs don't do it anymore. They have no effect anymore. It is like nothing will do but the hardest of all drugs to have an effect on me. But as I said, I don't mean to be grotesque about it. The hardest of all drugs that I speak of isn't a drug at all and doesn't have destructive results. It's God who I find fulfillment with now. It isn't in traveling. It isn't in various fun activities that I really don't find all that much fun anymore. It isn't in climbing some ladder in a career or various achievements. And as far as being a girl goes, it isn't in buying new clothes, changing my hairstyle, buying new shoes, or having a man. All of it is so far away in comparison to God that this truth is becoming even more distinct to me. Like I said, it is a strange feeling. Those things, they don't turn my head anymore. And I can barely relate to people whose heads are turned by these things. I suppose if I had to mention a few things that I enjoy that isn't necessarily God Himself, I would say I enjoy peace, health, fresh air, sunshine, beauty, clean water, music, not being too hot or too cold, and not being in pain. I mean, other than God, it's those types of things that I am down to. It's very good if you know what is most important and what is of true value. This knowledge is very valuable. You do not know how very far some go, trying to be fulfilled, trying to find what is of true value, only to never find it. So they settle for mediocrity or continually chase thrills. Underneath, they are unfulfilled, even if they are unaware of it or don't admit it. Hitting a drug only lasts so long before more is needed. There is no adequate substitute for God. There never was and never will be. Focus wholly on God and on those things that matter most. It is a wonderful thing if you are seeing that there is nothing else worth looking at. It is a harsh reality, but better to see it now. Many are forever looking at unworthy things and will keep looking at them all the way to hell. This is an important lesson. There is nothing in this whole wide world worth looking at but God. Know this and let it sink in, no matter how much the world, the flesh, and the devil protests. Did not Paul count it all as refuse? Yes, everything else is worthless when compared with the infinite value of knowing Christ Jesus, my Lord. For His sake, I have discarded everything else, counting it all as garbage, so that I could gain Christ and become one with Him. And so it is. It is best to know what is of true value as soon as possible. All the sooner to be on the right track and invest in the right things. I think the head turners are not so much to look at when you really love the one you're with. I don't know if I'm going to include this in the video because I am just speaking. I'm not reading right now. I'm not reading anything I wrote right now. But I wonder if it's easier not to have your head turned by things if you have been in the position to taste them, so to speak. Like Solomon in the Bible, he was in a position to try a lot of different things, many different things, with his wealth and position and whatnot. And perhaps it was easier for him to see that there wasn't lasting value in those things because he personally tried them. I wonder if it is easier to not have your head turned by the things some would have their head turned by if you had fully experienced them first. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe, I don't know what kind of example to give, but like acquiring some item, acquiring a material item of some kind. Maybe before you acquired it, you'd think it was like your life goal, something you really, really, really desired. But once you get it, you might enjoy it, but you might realize it wasn't all that you had imagined it to be. And so after the fact, after you acquire the material item, it's not what you thought. And so you realize that was a little bit exaggerated. The importance of that item was a bit exaggerated. I don't know if I'm explaining that clearly. I hope so. But yeah, so I do understand perhaps how some people might really want something that maybe they've never had or don't currently have, because they might think that when they get it, their life will be complete. But I mean, I'm not terrible old yet, but I have experienced a few things in my life, and I realize that's not where it's at. That's not where it's at. Repeatedly, I am seeing that. Even some of the most perhaps valuable things that there are in life. I mean, things that people might value the most in life, I am seeing is not where it's at exactly. I mean, I'm not saying it's absolute hell or something, but I'm saying I don't see how someone could think that their life is now complete when they get somewhere or acquire something. Because when I've gotten there, I don't. It doesn't. It's not fulfilling. It's really not. Of course, I tend to have a little bit of I am somewhat difficult to impress. I'm impressed by some simple things, like if someone exceeds my expectations in a very small way, like maybe replacing the paper towel roll when they use the last piece of paper towel and they actually have the forethought to replace it. I am impressed by that. I mean, I don't need like huge things in life to be impressed by. It's not like that. I guess I'm trying to say that some of these things that I notice, I observe people wanting, I'm not sure why. I'm not quite sure why they want it so bad. Why is it such a head turner? Maybe because I know there isn't much there to turn your head to look at, in a way. Like that example I gave of in a discussion with other Christians, one of them saying, "We all love the world." What are you talking about? What do you see? Maybe I should have asked them, what do you see in the world worth loving? Because I don't see it. Maybe you could enlighten me of what is there in the world that you see that's so attractive. I mean, yes, I understand that in a fleshly perspective, money can be attractive, wealth can be attractive, position, power can be attractive. But in a reborn new nature mindset, a hopefully Christian mindset and perspective, I hope that has changed. I hope the value that we maybe used to place on things has changed. That was my expectation, but again, I may need to continually lower my expectations if I ever don't want to be disappointed. But going off topic just slightly, I say Christian mindset, Christian perspective. I don't even know why I use the word Christian anymore. because I think it's lost its meaning. I don't know what it means when someone says they're a Christian anymore. I have my perception, my idea of what that should mean. But I feel like the name, the title, Christian, that word, I don't know if it has what meaning it has to people anymore unless I dive deeper and ask more questions about what does that mean to you. So sometimes when I use the word Christian, I feel awkward even using that word because I don't know what it means to anybody else these days. What else do I want to say? Oh yeah, okay, so fulfillment, finding fulfillment. I mentioned how I don't find fulfillment in any other place except God these days and doing His will and maybe possibly fulfilling the purpose of my life here on earth. That's fulfilling, but other than that, everything else seems so temporary and almost pointless. I won't say pointless totally because God can have His will done through all kinds of things in your life. But for example, how do I say this tactfully? Do I need to be tactful? Maybe I do. I guess I do. I don't even know anymore. I don't know if I care anymore. People who deeply desire. Okay, this may be taken the wrong way, and if it is taken the wrong way, people are most free to take it however they want. The deep and prevailing desire that I see to be married and to have children. Yes, that, especially in Christian circles. Like without that, your life is incomplete. Dare I say that is almost held as highly as God Himself. In some Christian circles, that being married and having children for a woman is basically as important as God Himself. I mean, that's how it comes off to me. And how your life is basically not yet really started, not really going to be complete until that happens. Now, I know that might be taken the wrong way because, of course, God has instituted marriage and likes children and family, and there's value in that. I'm not saying there's no value in it, but I'm trying to say I see people chasing that more than God. I see people pursuing that more than God. Now, is that what we should be doing? I don't think so. And why, particularly in Christian circles, is that held so very highly? And singleness is basically some kind of purgatory, where we all kind of hang out until we really get where we really should be. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever heard of making the most use of your singleness? What do you mean the most use of my singleness? The most use of my life, maybe, but not some kind of like holding area before my life really starts. I just don't appreciate the language. I don't appreciate the language or the pressure or how highly it is held. Like I said, just about on par with God. And why is the part in the Bible where Paul basically is saying it is better to remain unmarried. Why is that? Not talked about much. Probably because that's not what people want. People want to get married. They don't want to stay single. However, Paul is advising that basically if you can bear it, it is better to stay single. but that's not talked about very much. But it's in the Bible. But I know we don't talk about the certain uncomfortable parts that are in there very much. I'm just saying, what are we valuing? What is turning our head more than God in our lives? What are we thinking will really be fulfilling when it is not going to be as fulfilling as God himself? Yes, having a family, being married may be part of God's will for you. I don't think it was ever to be a replacement for God. I am not trying to diminish the value of marriage and having children. I am saying it is not on par with God. It is not. It doesn't totally complete your life, is what I'm trying to say. But of course, that may be taken the wrong way. However, maybe, perhaps, if you have ever gone through marriage and maybe even had children, if things don't really work out the way you wanted them to, maybe you will realize that at that point that it is not fulfilling. Maybe then. How many realize it before? Truly, how many realize it before that is not the entire way to have fulfillment in life, unless maybe you're the type of person who does find that completely fulfilling and as good as God, and maybe you find that as good as God in your life. I just don't know about certain people who I find agonizing. They are absolutely agonizing over not finding a man, and I do not relate. Why are they agonizing so? As if they are in absolute physical pain or something that they don't have a man, that they don't have a husband. Like, calm down, first of all. Second of all, I don't know that we should be... Do you want God that much? Maybe is what I want to ask them, but that would feel rude if I actually asked them that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Do you desire God as a Christian? Do you desire God less than your desire for a man? Because if you desire God less than you desire a man, I think you need to rearrange your priorities. That is my opinion. And furthermore, maybe I'm on the other side of the coin. Like, I see some women, Christian women, desiring a man so badly that I'm kind of on the other side of the coin where I'm like, why? I think it's because they haven't had one yet, is what I'm trying to say, as crude as that sounds. 'Cause, just don't have your expectations up too high. That's all I gotta say about that, for your own sake. So that when reality hits, maybe it won't hit quite so hard if you don't have your expectations too high. However, that's just from my perspective. I'm sure other women maybe have a more favorable perspective to see things in, to see things from. I think, is this going to sound bad? This is probably going to sound bad, but I think the women who have the highest, that have perhaps the highest, how do I say this? Opinion? No. Have the highest regard for being married, let's say, the highest hopes for being married, the highest, like, thinking that that is the greatest thing in the entire world. I think my humble opinion is that the women who have the highest thoughts of that are those who haven't been married yet. That is my opinion. Of course, that might be taken badly. I'm just saying, don't think that that is the pinnacle of life. So personally, I'm just seeing women agonizing about not being married and wanting to be married and wanting a man, wanting a husband, wanting family. Like, just calm down a little bit. Calm down a little bit, and maybe desire God as much. Ideally, more than that. And you will not be disappointed. You will actually find fulfillment. You will actually find purpose. Because nothing else in this entire world is like him. Is that radical? Is that a radical thing to say? Is that a radical thing for a Christian to say? I hope not. I hope that's pretty standard. I hope that is a pretty standard perspective, that there is nothing else in this world like God. Nothing worth desiring more than God. There is nothing more worthy than God. There is nothing in this world more worthy to be desired than God. Is that making sense? Is that radical for a Christian to say that there is nothing else in this world that is anywhere close to how great God is? Is that a radical thing to say? Apparently it is. I can be sitting in a group, amongst a group of Christians, and it is nothing. Apparently it is nothing to be told, we all love the world. We all love the world. I'm sorry, I do not share that sentiment. Like I already said, that feels awkward to me. What if I was in a group of married women, and one of them said, no, first of all, what if I was in a group, sitting amongst a group of married Christian women, and one of them says something like, we all love, what's the male version of a mistress? I don't even know. What if one of them said, show all the other married Christian women, we all love our other men that aren't our husband? That would be deeply offensive, but it's not, when we can say the same thing about God amongst Christians, that we all love the world. Wasn't that referred to as, you adulterers, you that want to make friends with the world? Except, like I said, I don't think there is that level of offense when it comes to expressing love for things other than God, as there would be if I was in a group of married women or married men, and someone expressed that they loved someone other than the person they're married to. There's a level of offense that would, I hope, take place in that way, but not when we're talking about God and other things. Why? Like I think I said earlier, it is a legitimate question to ask, do they really love God? Do they really love Him? If they are so easily turned, their head is so easily turned by other things. These are my viewpoints. These are my viewpoints that can either be disagreed to or agreed to. It doesn't really matter to me. I am just saying that I'm just actually just elaborating on what I already said, sharing additional thoughts on the whole subject. So I think that's all I have. Like I said, I don't even know if this portion of my rambling about the subject will be included in this video, because it is so not the most palatable thing. But I am not sure that I care how palatable it is anymore. I am getting older. At what point am I not going to care how something comes off because someone might not like it? You know what I mean? Can I express myself without caring about what someone else might like or not like? I see other people doing that all the time, very freely. I would like to have the same freedom. These are my thoughts. Yes. When we turn our heads to look at things other than God, do we care about it, how it makes him feel? Do we? Do you think God doesn't have feelings? I know how I felt when I was walking through that grocery store with supposedly the male that I was supposed to be in a serious relationship with, or whatever, you know, that story that I told. It didn't make me feel good when I saw the one who supposedly loved me, you know, whatever that meant, ogling some other woman. Like, why are you doing that? First of all, that emotion was very unpleasant for me to observe that when I'm supposed to, like, be with somebody in a relationship. I mean, that is a very unpleasant feeling. And personally, I don't want to conduct myself in ways turning my head to look at things other than God and have God feel the way I felt when that happened to me, because I love God and I don't want him to feel bad like that. God loves me. I want to love him back. And I want to consider him as much as I would any person that I can see with my own two eyes. I want to consider the feelings, not just of people, but of God. Consider how that would make him feel. Consider how that would make him feel. And then the absolute nerve to then like actively be turning your head to look at things that you desire more than God. And then what happens when you're in a little bit of trouble? You will go to God and ask him for, please help me with this, Lord. Please help me with that. That's a nerve. Someone would have a nerve to do that when they treat him the way they do. Do you see what I'm trying to say? I'm just saying, I sometimes feel as if people don't think God has any emotions at all and is some kind of stone statue that you can't make feel anything. Don't you think he grieves? Don't you think he feels sorrow? Because I think he does. When he says he loves us, that denotes feeling. I do think I recall parts in the Bible where the Lord hated something, where he loves things, etc. He is not some stone statue without any feeling at all. So I would just, personally, people can do what they want to do. Personally, I would like to not be turning my head in lust or desire for things when God is the one I love. I do not agree with we all love the world. We all love the world. No, I don't. No, I don't. to do that would be, as that one Bible verse that I shared, would be akin to adultery. That was the comparison. But I don't see Christians taking it that seriously at all.